Her story deals with a subculture of heavy metal music that some feel is sending a dangerous message to your kids.
The forces of evil on the dark side of devil rock.
And I want to talk tonight about the devil and demons and witches and wizards.
And we just mix it up with hardcore and aggression and come out with something we think's an original sound.
Loud, fast, heavy, you know.
Well, what do you got?
What do you got?
You're listening to Riff Worship, the show that attempts to answer the age-old question, what makes a riff? Why do we care about riffs? Talking about some of our favorite albums containing riffs, talking to people who love great riffs. I'm one of your hosts, Austin Paulson. With me, as always, are my best friends, Justin Swindle, Dylan Adams. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Early on a Sunday.
They don't have to know that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, listen, this is perfect.
Yeah, I got my coffee and
Yeah, I'm hooked up.
We're ready to go. We got a really great guest with us today. We actually did a deep dive of this guest album from maybe several years ago, Voices of Omens. We had our friends Nate, Garrett, and Sanford Parker on to kind of do a deep dive of that album. A lot of fun. We have him here today to talk about an album I really love. I'm sure he really loves, as you can see from this background. I tried to kind of set this up with the previous guest, Justin Pearson. Thanks for joining us, but shot down immediately. So when I saw that our special guest today was a fan, I kind of jumped at the opportunity. But he is the vocalist and one piece of the legendary Arkansas metal band Rwake. Their recent album, maybe their first in almost 15 years, Return of Magic, is out now through Relapse Records. Quickly became one of my top albums of the year. We're going to definitely talk about that in just a moment, but I'm of course talking about Mr. Chris Terry. CT, how are we, sir?
Good, very good. Yeah, it's early. I love it.
Yeah,
this is my time.
Yeah.
This is perfect rocking hours. So, yeah, congratulations on the record, man. Like, we absolutely fell in love with it.
Yep.
You've been playing some shows. How's the response been since the album came out?
Really good. People that say the nice things about the coolest little spots of the album that we really like, and which I guess validates us for doing little weird things, or when people, I guess, review it and they're like, oh, that one part, we're like, oh, we remember talking about creating that part and stuff. So it's really neat. It's neat to hear that stuff from the feedback or whatnot. So
I think, from the first track, even more to like the spacier sections, when I'm definitely got into this band because of Dylan. Dylan obviously being from Arkansas, I think he was definitely like stoked that it was.
Oh man, like just the weirdness of it is what's so perfect to me. And it feels like I was actually at the Nashville show with the 58, and it just feels like one piece, and knowing that the album is played that way is so perfect to me, because it's a journey from second one to the very last second on the record, and it just hits everything. And you guys did a fantastic job with that record. It was just like from the moment that the needle hit the wax on the record, like it just took the air right out of me with that opening note, and it just perfect record.
Oh yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
How much of Kiss do you think has wound up on Wake's material?
Well, we definitely have other members. I mean, Reed loves Kiss. Gene Simmons' tone is phenomenal. Like, even down to some of the last few years of them playing, and it almost just seems like I love them, just older puppets.
Yeah.
Right.
But his bass tone is incredible.
Yes.
He could just be up there and pissing down his leg, and it's still just like sounds amazing. And same with his vocals. There's been times I would see them. I've seen them so many times, and then before my kids came around a lot, I would go and see them, and I'd be on drugs, and I'd try to analyze, like something. If you're on LSD, but you're like, is that real? Is it? I think one time I saw them in 2004, and I was like, everything is piped in. and then by the middle of the show, I was like, once it wore off, I was like, no, this is it. It's all Gene. I was like, Gene, and so, maybe I think the bigness of Kiss, like Kiss Destroyer, just that big sound, like how you said, you drop the needle and you're just a part of the ride. Like Kiss Destroyer is like that for me a bunch. Like yeah, they got hits on there that you can put on a greatest hits album, but man, taking the Kiss Destroyer ride and just like the majesty of it, we 100. I would say, I don't think Britney kind of buys into the Kiss bullshit or anything. She does have Kiss t-shirts and she likes rock and roll. It's
Sure.
not like that, but me and Jeff and Reed, we still love, Kiss, probably.
I weirdly got into them at a young age when they're very much past their prime, and I just latched on and became obsessed with it. So when I saw like those pictures of you in like the Hot in the Shade t-shirt, with your bass, I was like, oh, there's a guy who, like, I get it. We have to talk about this. And, for those listening, we're going to be diving into some of this band's history and then, kind of discussing Love Gun, which I would argue is kind of like their commercial peak. I think after that, it maybe starts to like decline a little bit. Although like after maybe like their biggest hit came out, like the, disco song, but
I've been looking that up, and I think it's kind of a cross between You Gotta Give It to Love Gun, but it's really Kiss Alive too.
Yes. Yeah. The live records surprisingly are like it saved the band. It saved the label they were on. The live records themselves are just an experience all of their own. But I would love to just know, clearly you've been a fan for a long time. Where did you first discover them? What were your thoughts? Like, what was the, what got you into the Kiss?
I guess I knew about them because they were, just bigger than life, so going out of the 70s and into like the 80s, the only stories I can remember about them was Gene Simmons would jump on the crowd in his sharp teeth boots, and he would stomp on the crowd while blowing fire on them and spitting blood. So I was just like, what? Like, these are the stories we would tell each other at daycare and in kindergarten or whatever. This is what Gene Simmons does at Kiss concerts. And so that was like the very first thing I heard. And then there was always a Kiss 8-track floating around the house of Destroyer. But in the summer before the 7th grade, my brother-in-law Kevin had just started really getting me into rock and roll, and so I was listening to Van Halen, and if it was weird, it's because he had just given me this box of cassettes. So there was even like a Sarah Thungal tape in there, but I drifted more towards Tesla and stuff like that. And but I was really into Iron Maiden a lot because of that whole comic book aspect, like getting out of toys, getting into comic books. Iron Maiden had visuals, we even like made up a story background for Eddie, like that went between albums. So it'd be 1987, October 30th, and I still have the cassette. It was a double double night of Halloween parties for us seventh graders. And my Halloween party at our house was Halloween night. And another friend's was the night before on her night. And I went over to my friend Sean's house and he was like, let's make a cassette for the party. And his brother was away at college and it was, it was like magnificent. The water bed, and then the board behind his water bed was all his vinyl. So you have to like not get on his bed, but go to the end of his bed and lean over to, go through the record. And so this started out just let's make a tape for the party. And all of a sudden I'm going through records and then Kiss happened. And Kiss is a band I'd always known about, just never, I knew that Heaven's on Fire was a thing. Lick It Up was up in there. But as a kid, my first heavy metal bands were Twisted Sister and Quiet Riot. So Kiss just missed me on that, And October 30th in 87, I just started looking at all the album covers. And I was just like, what's going on here? I didn't know, I wasn't even listening to the music. And I'm just going through them. And I was like, wow, and I don't even remember what I was saying, but my friend Sean was like, oh yeah, my brother loves Kiss. and I said, man, I'd love to make a tape only of Kiss, and he goes, oh, let's do it right now. But we got to start with this song. And it starts out with Gene Simmons' solo album, When You Wish Upon a Star.
Oh, my God.
And this is what turned me on to Kiss for the rest of my life. He puts it on, and because I still have the cassette, and you push play, and it and it comes on and I'm just like, what? It blew my mind in such a weird way, and I don't think I definitely wasn't cool, man, but it kind of just warped me. I didn't know what to think, and then right after that, we start off with the bangers,
Yeah.
It's goes right into mostly the hits, the songs that we thought we knew or whatever. So it'd be like, oh, here's a Destroyer. Let's do God of Thunder. And I got a 2-sided cassette. And I remember it was almost like either that weekend or the very next weekend, Headbangers Ball just was randomly, playing. They had played the music video for Rock and Roll Night, Party Every Day, but it was a release for the Extreme cassette. The Exposed.
Yeah,
the VHS Exposed, which was kind of like the first Kiss release where you got to, it was 86, so they'd be promoting right off of Tears Are Falling and all that crap. And it's when bands would release a VHS, but it's semi-documentary, but it wasn't just one of those shitty releases where it's here's the 3 videos to promote the album that's out or whatever. It was a 2-hour thing where Gene and Paul were walking you through their fucking mansion and but half of it's real, half of it's not. They open up this one door and it is this fucking dungeon with jeans on this giant throne, and there's like, little people with horns and they're serving him. I mean, so but then they'll cut to interviews talking about how they met or whatever. So, but anyways, the neat thing about it was this music video was a live version of Rock and Roll All Night Party Every Day. And it reminded me of Iron Maiden Wasted Years, where you got to see all the clips of Eddie, like the music video for that. And it's when you recorded that on a VHS, you were like, yes, I've got every picture of Eddie ever in one video. That Kiss music video where they're promoting that tape is really cool because it was all through the years. It would show all these, makeup clips where at the time it was almost like Kiss was not promoting the makeup stuff really. And it was almost like, no, we got to prove ourselves like this. We're not doing that stuff. This was pre-convention, like Kiss conventions and stuff. It was before that. And then instantly, like the very next week on Headbangers Ball, I see, it's a Crazy Nights video.
Oh yeah.
And it was like right when Turn On the Night. That's my jam. Like that's when I came into Kiss was Crazy Nights. And so, but what was cool about the music video, what they weren't doing for the years before, they were doing zoom ins of the crowd, and all of the crowd had Kiss makeup on. and instead of being like, oh no, take the camera off that guy, they like zoom in on that guy. So the Crazy Nights videos, they're starting to like grasp that was cool, And to me, that's what I connected, because I'm like, well, I look like this kid in the crowd with the mullet, but I'm starting to like all this old Kiss, and and to me, their Crazy Night production, it was up there with the other, hair metal, whatever. And so I was like, man, they're just as good, like as any of the new bands coming out. And that was my introduction. When that happened, I was just, Kiss was my favorite ever since. So
I like that you touched on a few things, like mainly I guess they've experienced a lot of like transitional periods, and like, touching on like, all right, we've clearly been doing this makeup thing for so long. How do we try to stay like relevant? And clearly they went like more like the hair metal route. And even here, I feel like, this is just on the cusp of them kind of having to figure out what that, like, oh, okay, we've done this kind of big arena rock, hard rock sound for so long. And I feel like this album, as we kind of touched on earlier, is like the peak of that. Like, I mean, you mentioned like the Alive records, and you see all the pictures of them with like, on the cherry pickers and like the explosion. I mean, like complete and total excess. Like it was just bigger than life itself. And I feel like I think maybe personally Destroyer is probably my favorite record.
I mean, if out of all of them, if you had to be like, you can only choose one, I'd be like Destroyer,
yeah.
And it sucks because Beth is not my favorite song. But it's in there, and when you listen to it all, you don't mind it, it rolls with it. And even if I had to pick a Beth, I don't mind the demo version with the 12-string guitar.
Yeah.
Like the version that they do in Phantom of the Park.
Yeah.
It's not bad because it's stripped down. It's one acoustic guitar and it's Peter's vocals,
I know we'll touch on it later when we get into the record, but like I think he's super underrated as far as his vocal performance. I love
100.
the raspy kind of delivery he's got kind of reminds me of like, I don't know,
But-
like a Bob Seger, like a Detroit kind of thing or whatever.
100%. And before Paul, he led the band. Paul didn't come out of the womb with that banter.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I mean, he'll tell you that, you know. And if you look at the first 3 Kiss shows, it's Peter in between every song. Like, hey, good night, good night, how you doing? Like, it's Peter the whole time. And those first 3 Kiss albums, those Peter songs are like the heavier ones.
I agree.
Strange Ways is like one of the heaviest Kiss songs. And it's all Peter. I mean, it's sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have, I guess, 2 other people on this podcast.
I'm sorry, you guys.
No.
It's good.
No.
Let us convince the non-Kiss lovers out there.
Wait, are you guys have you guys been moved by this record? Like, I would love to know just your, obviously CT and I are fans, and we have been listening to these records a long time. Was this your first time listening to a Kiss record? Like, what was your relationship like before today?
My mom went to one of maybe the first Kiss farewell tour in like 98 or whatever. And I have a younger sister whose name is Beth. So they used to play that song all the fucking time on cassette.
Okay.
For my sister. But I never really, for some reason, even as a kid, I didn't latch on. I latched on to Dio or something more so than Kiss. But it's always been around.
Yeah. Dill?
Multifaceted kind of answer for me. So big wrestling fan as a kid. WCW had a wrestler named the Demon, Del Torborg, that would dress like Gene. I think WCW even had them play his original intro out too. So there was that tie-in. There was an album released around Stone Cold Steve Austin's height called Stone Cold Metal. And it had God of Thunder and Detroit Rock City on it. And hearing the kind of opening child at the beginning of God of Thunder, and it kicks into that pounding thing.
They had the OG version on that? Oh, wow.
Yep. And and all of these were songs curated by Steve himself on this record. So it's God of Thunder. I think there's even Rocky Like a Hurricane on that album. But anyway, that was one of my first forays with Kiss. But also, I would go to the grocery store with my mom, and there's the huge magazine rack. It had comic books and music mags and everything, but it would also have those kind of magazines that would display all the collective toys and video games and everything. And there was a McFarlane Toys advert in there.
Oh, those were crazy.
And it had the Kiss figures, and it had, I believe, some Misfits figures at the time of Jerry and Doyle. But I remember looking at those really detailed Kiss figurines and just going I need to know what this sounds like. I need to know what this looks like, because it was those, and right below it was the Injustice for All era Metallica ones that we're all familiar with as well. And I, being 8-9 years old and not really knowing how to get any of this stuff at this time, this is pre-Napster even at this point, and just going, I'm going to end up with a CD or a tape or something with these guys on it. Being into wrestling, seeing those magazines, and then having a somewhat distant family member that was a big fan of Kiss. So the first Kiss record I really heard was Psycho Circus. And that's probably the one I'm most familiar with. And I know the song Psycho Circus. If it was on, I could probably hit every hook, every note of it.
Yeah, my kids, that's their favorite song is Psycho Circus.
I mean, it's huge. It's a huge sounding song.
Dude, that music video is something else. I think it was,
I just found, I'm digging through the closet and I'm going through stuff, vinyl and yada, yada. And I found the Psycho Circus VHS with 3D glasses.
Oh, amazing.
Because the video was made in 3D. Yeah. It's just, if TV was playing videos, you didn't get it that way.
Oh, that's so cool.
So now I just got to dig out the VCR. So,
But with my later years, it was Pantera. The Pantera home videos, Dime in full Ace Frehley gear, the shows where they were dressed up at them. It's like, all right, I got to at least listen to this a little bit more objectively throughout my older years.
I mean, musically, you know, if I try to win people over, because I like all the bad stuff, you know, it's really just those first three records, you know, and like if you're into Humble Pie, you know, and then you tell someone that like Paul Stanley is really just kind of like this New York Steve Marriott like ripoff, you know, you hear it, you know, it's like you're like, wow, I didn't, you know, like, and it's, but it's definitely not like Humble Pie, you know. It's like those first three records, you can 100% pick out like more than enough songs to like go to a friend that you respect musically and that, you know, just that you don't want to waste their time, you know, and give them this, you know, and be like, just listen to, you know, these songs, they're heavy, you know, even just like Watching You and you know, and Parasite and you know, 100,000 Years to me. The first record sounds great, but there's a lot more catchy, hookier songs and less stoner heavy songs, you know.
I mean, even like Love Theme from Kiss is great.
Yeah.
My copy, just to, you know, flex on any listeners, my copy doesn't have Kissin' Time on it. It's like before they went back and recorded that, which I got accidentally. Just, you know, saying. But it's I love those records. It's kind of crazy to think that like it, you know, now kind of having the hindsight, you look back and it's like, man, all these albums have like all these classic Kiss songs, like signature songs of their set. If you go and see them now, or when they were more active, I guess, I mean, obviously they're broken up, but you go to a show, they're going to play all those songs from those first few albums, but none of it generated, they didn't see any royalties. They weren't making any money during that time.
Another good thing I would say, like if you're visually more, that Kiss 75 Winterland Ballroom, San Francisco, and tons of bands do this. If you look them up on YouTube, I mean, there's rad. It's a black and white concert series that did. I mean, every band you can find, Styx or Fleetwood Mac or whatever, and the concerts are radical. There's a Kiss one, and it's right after Hotter Than Hell. It just came out. And it's the whole set. It's black and white. They got their candles up. You know, when their drum is rising, it's like their friends getting it up there, like DIY. And it's incredible. Like I mean, just because it's so stripped down, it's black and white, it's not that many angles, and the tone is ridiculous. Like, I mean, just Gene Simmons is a monster. Like, I think he's probably one of those dudes that would just wanted to play guitar so much that he's like, I'm going to show you on this bass that I should have been the guitar player or something. Like,
and he does play, you know, I mean, even throughout, I think some of the records were, especially the record we're talking about today, there's like tracks that he does end up just playing guitar on.
I believe it, you know, and even I was looking up some Love Gun stuff, and I think they said that's the very last album where Peter plays every song.
Yeah, like they I think it's the first record where like everybody sings on it, but it's also the last record where they all play together. which, you know, is just, man, I re-diving into some of the documentary and like the interviews. I'm like, I'm like, damn, I forgot how petty these guys are. Like, they are petty.
Well, something y'all want? We jumping? You want to go jump into Love Gun?
Sure. Yeah, I was just. I guess I really wanted to say, if anything, to just kind of give people a perspective. I feel like their career like happened so quick. Like the jump from the first record to Love Gun is only like 4 years.
The entire career is quick.
Yes.
There's not even a Love Gun tour. They played America once.
Yeah.
And they hit Japan, but that's not a tour. It was just like,
Yeah.
you know, like 4 nights in a row sold out or what, which I guess is pretty cool. I mean,
they went on tour with
no, Europe, and the Police opened up. Is that what it was?
Cheap Trick and Styx.
Cheap Trick opened up for them at the American show.
Right.
But they also opened up for them a bunch on other stuff.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Love Gun tour itself was like July through September, and then they went right into Alive 2 stuff.
And that's what I was, because I was trying to because I was counting Alive 2 as Love Gun.
Sure. Yeah. Because it has all those. It has all those songs
in the
on
Kiss ethos, it's like, no. Because back then they were dropping albums and busting butt. And the only reason they didn't tour for Love Gun is probably because they had everything already mapped out for that year. And Love Gun just happened to be like, bam. And as far as I read, even, they were not in the studio that long for Love Gun. Like, compared to like, I guess a couple of other things.
It was like a month, basically. May 3rd to the 28th. So
yeah,
for records like that, you know, that might have probably taken several months. And even like to touch on the tour thing where, yeah, I mean, most bands that we've talked about on this show, they probably tour an album for like several years. And, you know, you just kind of hop off and do your live shows. But you're right. I mean, they were pumping them out. I mean, the first Kiss record and Hotter Than Hell released in the same year. Then the very next year, Dressed to Kill comes out.
And within the same year, Alive comes out. That's 4 albums. And at that point, they were about to get kicked off the label. They were, if anything, the label was like, I know they're always like, you do best live, let's release a live record. No, I think what they were saying is, we're going to put out one more record, and to save money, it's going to be live because we don't want to pay for your next studio, John. So here's it. It was fun, you know, like, come on, guys, we're moving on now.
And even then, it's like live. Like I always thought, like, you know, listening to it as a kid.
I've looked that up too, but man, I could be proven wrong, but I really do think Kiss Alive 1 was like somewhat live.
It for sure. I think there's parts of the record I've heard or read from like Eddie Kramer, who has produced several of the band's records, the one we're talking about today especially, where sometimes they went as far down as just like the drum track and then, you know, kind of played in the studio live or something, or sometimes it might have
or Alive 2.
Live 1.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, I think it's a great record. It's a classic record. I think even depending on like how much of it is actually, you know, from incredible. A performance.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think yeah.
To me, it saves it because you know, even some of the songs on the first album that and they're my favorite band in the world, so I don't mean anything by this, but you know, like just Strutter and some of them just aren't as, you know, heavy as songs on the very next album. I mean, even the Got to Choose isn't a heavy metal song, but it's the fucking heaviest song on that record. And I mean, it comes out of the gate like, and
fucking
it's just,
like Parasite.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, so
yeah.
I don't even know what I'm fucking talking about anymore.
but you're right. So, you know, this is an album that basically.
What I meant was they came across a lot better on Kiss Alive.
I agree. Yes.
Some of those songs, like even the long extended version of 100,000 Years.
Oh,
If
with
I'm going
like
to
the
make a
Peter
mix,
Criss drum solo and
it's not just a drum solo. It's just
yeah.
like the 70s extended. And that's when Paul comes in, like Steve Marriott. He's, do you feel all right? like, I mean, and it's, dude, it's, and they're still going on until he finally brings it. Sorry to have taken so. I mean, and that whole part, they stop, start it, and do things live that weren't on the record, and that, man, that to me, that's the perfect example of that.
It's
Like,
yeah. I would say yeah. Which I'm not typically a live album person. I think it's just a great record.
I love live albums. I'm obsessed with them. Like, like I'm weird. I think they capture things, like, even like my Pantera records. The 101 Proof is the one that I put on. Like it's weird.
Is that is that like kind of like this? Where is it like multiple shows, or is it like one in particular?
I think it's a blending of a couple. I read, and this is from Rex's book, he talked about it was a blending of 1 to 3 shows of what had the best, same set every night, but like what had the best take on it. And I even think he alluded to the fact that there's some Kiss-esque things with the production for the record, but there's an energy to it. There's an energy to that record that is pretty unmatched, because like none of us have had the opportunity to see Pantera in their heyday or even at this point. But like you can hear it on that record. And that's what's cool about live records, especially if it's a really good one. And it kind of does feel like a greatest hits of that time, right?
That was their best time though. Like it's weird. My favorite record is their last record. I'm Reinventing the Steel.
Man.
I'm just like, wow. Like they go even away from just cool songs that hook you in no matter what. It's like there's some subliminal stuff going in with those guitar riffs.
Yeah.
But for Reinventing the Steel, it was, I don't know what they did, but it's like they cut that out, but just refined this, like, I don't know, but it's my favorite record for them, especially not having hits like her. When I don't mean hits, just like on the Pantera live album, you're only going to hear this fucking hit in your car. You're not going to hear it on the radio. But I mean, A New Level is a goddamn Pantera hit.
Yeah, exactly.
But that time period, they were touring so much, and they were also doing like the Ozfest, and like if you were lucky in our area, you got to see them more than a few times. Like you were just like, oh, cool. Like, I mean, I saw him, I think, in Memphis at the Mid-South Coliseum in like 94, and literally witnessed the beer like event. I'm like 19 or something. I never seen, it was like 100 beers across to the back of the Coliseum. And I mean, it's like maybe a 7,000 or
sure.
Coliseum. It's not like arena, but still, that's a long toss, man. Like people were catching it just like in that video,
Sure.
And we were mind blown. And then they came to Little Rock right after that, and then I might have seen them maybe 5 times back in that day, but the best was man, on an Ozfest in Dallas. I had never seen them in Dallas, and it was Neurosis was there, and it was the first time Sabbath played, but with Mike Borden.
Oh wow.
And so it was just like, they were like, okay, we're doing this, and they did it. So it'd be like an Ozzy set, and then like 6 songs of Sabbath, maybe. Like, but it was like a legit, 6 to 8 song Sabbath encore. But Mike Borden was playing drums, and but Pantera played right before Ozzy, and I remember going to a line. I didn't have money for beer, so it couldn't have been the beer line, But I was somewhere off to the side, and I remember they opened up with Cowboys from Hell, and it was just like that riff came on. People that were standing in the beer line, like let's say they had already been standing for 20 minutes, like it was like they didn't give a shit. They turned around and just like, it was almost like, I'm from Dallas, Pantera is playing, and it was these, and I don't remember exactly what Phil said, but it was almost like, we're Pantera, this is fucking Dallas, and everyone, really did just go ape shit at that point, and it was a bunch of rednecks,
Yeah.
But I was like, I was an observer, because I tripped a lot back in those days. I would have to watch the pit before getting in.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
And which I always did, but rarely instantly. And but no, it was amazing. I don't know how we got on to that.
Hey, you know what? I'm here for it, but
just because of live albums.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
That was the best time to me, being alive during the Pantera era. They played a lot of shows, they toured a lot. Man, that live record captures it really.
Yeah, and I would say the same for Alive, and I don't mean to gloss over a large chunk of this band's history, but I mean, from there, the live record is really what kind of catapults or begins this kind of ascent. Because then you get Destroyer, which I think at first maybe was met with mixed reviews, but Beth was the kind of savior of that. It won a People's Choice Award, so at least people, you're hearing it.
They're like semi-commercial, like Rod Stewart maybe or something. Because at that time, Rod Stewart's putting out a commercial hit, but I don't know if you know this. You can buy the same Rod Stewart 75 record, and there are some fucking heavy songs on that album. But then he does a commercial song on it,
right?
And it's like. But I mean, there's songs on his solo albums that are just like the Faces, that stuff that he would do. And it's so I guess that's, I wasn't there. So in my mind, I'm trying to imagine all these people that have just seen images of Kiss, and then all of a sudden Beth comes out.
Right. Yeah. It is kind of odd. You kind of mentioned earlier, it's not my favorite song of theirs, but I don't think it doesn't ruin the record for me. I think it just kind of is a part of the time. And, it's a definitely important piece of their history where that song kind of got them more in the public eye. And, you'd have Rock and Roll Over is a great record, but, by the time you get to Love Gun, they were just full on. I mean, they're selling out Madison Square Garden. They fucking beat the Beatles' Budokan record for most nights sold out.
Everything.
Yeah.
They're doing, and they don't even have charted top 10 hits I don't know of.
I don't I think this is the biggest record they did at this point.
Charted to 6.
Right. Yeah.
But that only means they have a lot of fans that bought it when it came out.
Right.
That does nothing to do with, this song was played on the radio or whatnot. That's what's so fucking cool. I guess even to bring it back to that whole Pantera thing, you're only going to hear this song. It's just Kiss was constantly getting dissed out by Rolling Stone and shit like that. And by music critics that were, saying Steely Dan is amazing, and Steely Dan's fucking incredible. I'm not saying. I think it's just one of those things where I don't know. Like sometimes music critics, maybe I don't want to say they're tainted wrongly, but maybe you can get an opinion on something without going into the music open-minded. Like we're had a friend of yours said, man, check this out. Really, to this day, I've never been a big Grateful Dead fan. But I'm never like that. I have friends that I respect that they're like, you just don't know, like Lee from The Body he fucking loves the Dead. And Marcus Lowe, that he's a good friend of mine. He recorded the Wake, Hell is the Door to the Sun album. And he engineered the first Goody Mob record.
Oh my God.
He's a local dude that I respect, and he's like Dead. And my question to them is that, like, it's the same thing I try to do with Kiss. I'm like, well, show me. Like, I'm more wrong than right sometimes. I just don't post about that. And I love to be proved, or to be, because that only means I like something new.
Right.
I mean, so when it comes to Kiss, I'm instantly like, oh, I get it. like I'm like, if you accidentally saw the video for Who Wants to Be Lonely, I understand. I mean, just I get, Tears Are Falling, any of that stuff, I get it, but and then that's when I'll be like, man, if you can set that aside and just open your mind to this, and that's how I try to get them into the whole Kiss thing. I try to do that. Like I said, I haven't had a friend to be like, man, have you heard this song by the Dead? It kind of sounds like Kiss. I never liked the Beatles. Man, I never liked the Beatles until I realized that Kiss was ripping them off. And then I was like, damn, man. I was like, this is just heavy metal Beatles. Like, damn it.
I don't know. I doubt he was ever very close, but always the funniest story I heard from the solo records was that Gene had attempted to basically orchestrate a Beatles, like post-Beatles reunion for his solo record. I was like, that's not gonna happen. But
I could see that though, man.
Yeah. Oh, though they all love. Yeah, it's there. Oh, for sure.
That was also around I bet that a year later is when Saturday Night Live made.
Oh yeah.
Here's the check for $100. Like, and man, I don't know if you've seen the stuff for Gene's solo album, but you should look up the invitation for his private album release party.
No, I don't know anything about that.
He has like Pinocchio there, and dude, it is crazy.
Oh, I gotta look this up.
Crazy.
So maybe getting into some of the songs on this record. We kind of talk about, like, it was recorded over a month, and I think maybe one of the biggest takeaways that, like, I don't think this band really wrote a lot. I mean, maybe like Gene and Paul definitely bounced ideas off of each other, but it sounds like these guys, or at least for this record, they didn't really write a lot together.
Well, this is also the same record that's got the Van Halen demos.
Yeah,
right.
I think they only used one. The other songs are on Gene's solo album.
They apparently cut, so like before the release of this record, they're kind of like, it seemed like Paul was going to like Electric Lady Studios and like doing his own thing. He's cutting demos. After like the tour for, I think like around 76. Yeah. Like Gene had met Van Halen and he was like big on like trying to get them signed to a label, which, you know, his attempts didn't work, but they were like connected through that, and he had them cut demos for Tunnel of Love, Got Love for Sale, and Christine 16.
The 2 solo songs, and then Christine. Yeah. So I also attribute that to not them being weird as much as them working so much, touring so much, that when they were allowed a break, they were making demos of the songs they were writing. And I really only think that about Gene and Paul. And Ace or Peter being mad about something is because, well, you dudes weren't going home and turning in 7 songs.
Yeah. They have like Paul's talking about like, yeah, I wrote Love Gun in my head on the plane ride to Japan, basically,
Crazy.
or something like that. And then I immediately got off and had to cut a demo.
Exactly. Like that's even when I guess the stories to that God of Thunder demo that's all upbeat with the rock and roll, and it's all doing all the vocals. It sounded like he was like, yeah, I did that in the hotel room with my engineer. He was like, or not my engineer, like my tech was the guy playing it with me, just so I could be able to keep the beat. He's playing the rhythm or whatever. And then he overdid and if anything, it's probably because he's like, I bet the other guys are asleep. I just landed. I got the timing in my head. Yes. I'm laying it down right now.
And it's not to say that I mean, obviously I love Hooligan. I love Shock Me. That's a classic
Hooligan
track.
Is so fucking heavy, dude.
Yeah.
To me, it's the standout heavy song on that record.
That is just like, it feels like a Midwest kind of like rock and roll, like Bob Seger type of track. Before it gets away from us really quick, I just want to know, like, if all right, let's dive into the record. Like, Swindle, Dylan, have you ever listened to this record before? Like, no, never.
No.
First impressions, like, what was your like thought? Like, you've been listening to this for like at least like a week and a half, couple weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very, very rock and roll.
Yeah.
Very, very rock and roll. Like, a lot of it, like 50s, 60s rock and roll.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of that, because obviously that's where Gene and Paul pulled a lot of their influences from. There's a lot of like Midwest rock and roll in there too. I hear MC5. I hear like roots rock and roll, like early proto heavy metal, like the Stooges.
Paul is that connection, man. He loved that Detroit, like
Grand Funk was another one. Stuff like that. Vanilla Fudge is a name that comes to mind too, with a lot of this stuff. Like, it's 70s hard rock. It's that the roots of this band are still on this record, but you also have a lot of Paul's influence, I hear, on this one, of like 50s doo-wop stuff, like the Ronettes cover, or not the Ronettes cover that's on here, but the cover that's on here. And like hearing all of that, like I mentioned off the air, that Paul's got this great blending of like that kind of campy doo-wop stuff from the 50s and the early 60s, but also this 4 on the floor, like anthemic hard rock shit that his writing is so just forward with. His stuff's a lot more polished, but then you've got like Gene's input, such as like with Plaster Caster and Christine 16. But the track Almost Human is just a cool fucking song that he sounds the most Gene out of all of them on. Like that weird kind of low vocal thing where he sounds like a pissed troll or something going at it. And like it being about werewolves and lycanthropes is like so fucking cool that there's a tie-in of this kind of ancient evil and mysticism all with this record, or with this track, I should say. And it's just kind of a driving, almost Zeppelin kind of riff at the beginning of it as well. That weird octave. Austin, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of octave Jimmy Page thing that he does.
I thought it was like, it reminded me of Sabbath. Like,
yeah,
because Tony did that drone, like the solo for War Pigs has that fucking drone string in it.
There's on that song especially, I think this band has like, you can hear it from the first album watching you. I like just think of it as a Kiss groove. There's just like this sort of like bouncy thing that they do. It is just a Kiss thing. It is a groove. I don't know, like maybe it comes from another band specifically, but they have this kind of like plotting kind of, and I attribute that to Gene 100%, but it's like from Watching You to Almost Human, like it's like consistent throughout the record. So it's like no surprise that it pops up here as well.
For me, I guess I had heard I Stole Your Love before getting into Love Gun, because I watched Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park first. So I guess the only one I knew off Love Gun was Love Gun, only because we put that one song on that Halloween tape that I made that night. So I wasn't, back then I wasn't as aware of Love Gun. And or Rock and Roll Over. All because it happened all at once. So I borrowed the VHS for Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park before I ever got to consecutively listen to them or whatever. And if you are watching Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park in a not like you're making fun of it state, they open up with I Stole Your Love on that move. So it's like, they've been building this movie up for like 25-30 minutes to where you're just like, where's Kiss? Where's Kiss? And then all of a sudden, it's this peak part where they, rise up the bad guy, Abner Devereaux, the mad scientist, and he gets fired, and he's walking under the roller coaster, and they start Peter Criss, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, like they're letting everyone in the theme part know tonight, Kiss tonight, and then it like everything goes black on the TV screen, and you see the people are there, and it the lights, and they open up with I Stole Your Love, and I didn't know that song, and so it was I mean, it's so heavy to me. I was just like, what is this, and so I knew it because of that. So then when I got Love Gun, I was like, oh yeah, this is the album that's got I Stole Your Love on it. I was just like, I'm set,
What a better, it's just maybe one of the best openings to it's a solid, any record would be I'd be stoked to hear a song like that. But maybe even just out of their discography, I don't think there's a better opening song. I think it's my favorite song, out of their whole discography.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite. I love Paul and Ace share the guitar solo on it. And when you never know that stuff, but if you watch the videos from back then, that's Paul, and then it gets obvious Ace when it's like
just to even piggyback off of that, I think, and I've said this maybe on other episodes we've done, where I think this band's strong suit, at least for this era, was always the solos for me, because Ace just has this it's not just a solo. I mean, it's part of the song. It's catchy, it's melodic, it's singable. I always remember it. It's from Shock Me to I Stole Your Love, all of those parts, anything that he is typically played on, if I heard it, I could probably hum along to it or fumble through it a little bit.
I love Ace Frehley. I got a big Ace tattoo on my
Hell yeah,
arm.
dude.
I mean, except for he was trying to make us chant Trump at the last solo show that he did.
Did he? Did you? So you saw him and that happened?
Man, when was it? It might have. I can't even remember. I guess I'm so old, time blurs. But it was what I mean is it was either pre-pandemic or post-pandemic. It was like right at the cusp of before or after. And I went and seen him in this like in Oklahoma, and it was amazing. It was this small town out in the middle of nowhere. And it was this hall, like a 70s looking, it probably only sat 1,500 to 2,000 at the most, but it had, like seats all the way around the side that went up bleacher style and then came around the top like that too. So it looked like you were fucking watching like Stillwater and Almost Famous, like it was a fucking, like, it was a 70s vibe all the way. And it was amazing because he was doing like Rock Soldiers.
Oh,
and
wow.
like,
Yeah.
like a lot of his solo, and his band was incredible. So even when they were doing like Watching You or whatever, the drummer would be doing vocals and nailing it. Like, I mean, so and he had 3 guitar players because he had 2 with him in the middle just getting to wank off and like concentrate on the solos. And the other 2 dudes were nailing like Thin Lizzy shit over Kiss songs, and like, so it was amazing. And then there was that whole, hey, what about Trump, man? Like, damn, your kids, Ace, haven't they told you what's up?
Yeah. Kind of makes me think what Johnny Ramone or somebody might be doing if they were still around. Like,
right, yeah.
I attribute this to their children, and if their children hadn't taken over, like, or if their children suck.
So Swindle, as a drummer, was there any like drum parts or anything that stuck out to you as far as like listening to this record?
It was all pretty fundamental stuff to me. It sounded that way.
Peter's more jazz than he is, rock.
Yeah, brought up through that. I think he even like learned under Gene Krupa for a moment there or something like that. But
well, I mean, compared to like Eric Carr, who was like, no, Zeppelin, I mean, heck, in those first few years, it probably didn't show up as much on Love Gun, but in those first few years when they were doing what they wanted to, to me, that's one of the 100. Him and Ace are the ones that set them apart as like unique, even though I love Gene's heavy tone or blah blah blah, everyone had great tone in the 70s. So he's just the one that continued to sound great, like,
yeah. I mean, gotta attribute that to like Eddie Kramer. I mean, get the guy who fucking did all the classic, like worked with Jimi Hendrix exclusively, basically, fucking Led Zeppelin. I mean, so it sounds like everything comes through perfectly. It sounds great. I can hear the drums well. I think he is certainly more of like a fundamental player. There's room where he like does some kind of like nice, like cool fills and like there's some like interesting things there. But for the most part, I think he's just kind of like holding the fort down. Like, I'm not going to break. Like, you guys you're safe, you know?
And maybe maybe with that on this record too, is how policed he probably was when it came to, I need you to play this at this time for this, right? When you've got 2 characters like Gene and Paul that are pumping out songs, and here's my Springsteen reference from every other episode we've done, like just being prolific and pumping out songs constantly. Hey, we're off the road for a week. All right, here's 4 songs. We're off the road for a night. All right, I demoed it in the hotel room with this guy and this guy. Like, I need it to sound like this so it can get the image that's in my head out on the record, right? With him being policed a little bit, at least, with what I'm seeing on this record, maybe that's why he was a little bit more reserved on here. Yeah, you've got room for a fill, but let's make sure it locks in this way and make sure that it doesn't step on the melody or the guitar solo or whatever, right? It does seem like they're more on this record in particular. It's more about what the songs are sounding like, maybe as opposed to let's just go out there and crank up these fucking riffs, which is what we all like. And there's no shortage of those on this album. But when you've got a track like Tomorrow and Tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at was go ahead.
No, you've got a track like Tomorrow and Tonight that is very much just here's a song that I wrote that I wanted to mirror, like, I think it was Detroit Rock City that he wanted to get the kind of same vibe out of, and the vibe's there, but sounds completely different from that track for sure.
It reminds me of like a Sean Cassidy track. Like it sounds like,
yes,
that's rock and roll to me. Like it sounds like very bubblegum thing, which is not bad. And I'm not shocked by that because you definitely, if you go before this record, you're going to get tastes of that like influence on here.
No, I love the verses. To me, it's the Marriott. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
We're good.
It's fun. It's like, I like that more than I do like Then She Kissed Me, which is not even a bad cover of it.
Right.
I don't know if it belongs in I would almost love to see that more so.
I don't, man, it's so weird. Like,
it is. Yeah, you're right. I
don't understand why I love it. It's just
it's a good cover. Yeah.
It's a really good cover.
I like it better than Christine 16. I like it, and not for the weird reasons. Just I don't like the
like the Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of another one that's semi campy. No, that's the Hooligan, but it's Hooligan. But dude, one that I'm skipping over that is heavy unless you analyze it is Got Love for Sale.
Yeah. Dude, that's great with all the acoustic layerings in there.
Yes,
it sounds great.
And even the like, and Gene's vocals in the middle. I mean, and then the Brit. Oh no!
Swindle, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. Then She Kissed Me, the like third time through the verse, they throw on like nasty overdrive on the bass. I was just like, where in the fuck did this come from? Like, what?
I mean, it's a good cover. It's very reminiscent to me of Twisted Sister doing Leader of the Pack.
Oh yeah, dude. 100%.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Dude, that music video fucking rules. Bobcat Goldthwait in there.
So good.
Oh my god.
All standing kissing off the edge.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, that's such a good cover.
That's great.
Is he really going in? Anyway, I think it's a really strong record.
Yeah.
And it sounds wonderful, as we've mentioned. I wonder, had they gone with, the one thing they kind of mentioned with Destroyer was like maybe the first time they'd really been like pushed to, they had someone who comes in almost like, who's like the fifth Beatle guy that I'm blanking on right now.
Billy. I'm thinking Billy, the organ player. Sorry. But
there's they have like there was a producer that they worked with who was like responsible for a lot of like some of the more like, hey, well, we arrange it this way, this sort of thing. And like actually be like an active participant in the songwriting, right? So Bob Ezrin coming in off of like, he worked extensively with Alice Cooper. He had just done like Welcome to My Nightmare. I mean, that's like a fucking, like some of that stuff's insane.
Beth, Only Women Bleed. Like
there's a lot of like, I mean, there's like the orchestration or like some of the piano parts. I mean, they fucking brought in like a youth choir for like, what is it? It's not, is it Flaming Youth? I think maybe has it. It's
Great Expectations.
Great Expectations. That's it.
That was one of my first favorite Kiss songs because
it's so weird.
On that tape I made, and I would just be like, what is going on?
I think there's a lot of experimentation going on that record that maybe this record doesn't necessarily have. And it's not a.
Did Eddie Kramer do The other one,
He did
Rock and Roll Over.
He did Rock and Roll Over.
Okay, that makes sense. Both of those are straight rock and roll albums compared to.
Yes, I agree, and I think that was because they seem to be like, I don't think Ace and Peter really enjoyed the recording process of working with Bob Ezrin, because he was like more of like he wore a whistle, like he was like hammering them down to like really get the best performance out of them.
I bet Paul was showing up to the whistle call.
But you know, with Eddie Kramer, they'd worked with him on their demo before they even got signed. They did a live with Eddie, and then Rock and Roll Over was like the first actual like studio album they did. And I think Ace and Pete, like, you know, obviously there's the two camps. I think those guys really liked working with Eddie, so that's like essentially why he's on Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun.
And Ace's solo album, which blew all of their solo albums away, and no one saw that coming. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, we'll let Ace do it." I mean, Paul and Gene probably assumed it was going to be them, but hoped it wouldn't be Peter because of Beth, you know? And then the whole time, the fucking dark horse riding up.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, so I wonder how, maybe if Bob was on, I wonder what this would have sounded like. Maybe there would be like, maybe it would be sequenced different.
I don't think they could. I think that they were done. They were a horse. I think that it was like, we're touring, we're writing songs, putting a record out, we're touring, we're writing songs, putting a record out. We're on this Halloween special. Let's go to Japan. Let's I honestly, I think that's one of my favorite of all the Kiss books is, and I don't know the title of it, but you can easily look it up. It's the one that has every single show they've ever done.
Ooh.
It states the attendance, the opening band, the capacity of the venue, how many tickets were bought. So it's like Kiss, Salt Lake City, this place, capacity 10,000. 2,000 people bought tickets for the Lick It Up tour. You know, it's like, but you see like the Kiss, and all the opening bands, and then they also have a blurb, like what they can remember. 2 songs were recorded by the local radio station and put out live, and you could probably find it somewhere.
I wonder if that's the book I have. I wonder if it's the book I used a lot of the information from Kiss Behind the Mask. It
gives you so much information just because of showing you the tour.
Yeah.
You kind of see the album, and it's all peak up till Dynasty.
Yeah, I agree. And that book, if I'm not mistaken, Behind the Mask, I mean, at least for that book especially, it'll take you track by track, and like, if there's something to be said about it, like they'll, give you some context on it. But I think you're right. I think their span eventually.
Looking at other Kiss books, I was like, sorry.
No, all good. But I think you're right, though. I think at a certain point, I think the machine just was like probably too much, because they still did even after this record, you did the solo records in 78. You had Alive 2 in 78.
But before that, it was Alive 2, then the solo albums, and where that side 4 of the solo albums were Kiss, new songs or whatever. I mean, which have like, those are the first time it's not all Kiss members, because Bob Kulick plays on a song.
Yeah.
On the All American Man, and what is on that?
On which one?
By Ace. Is that Rocket Ride?
Oh, Rocket Ride's Ace. Yeah,
Rocket Ride. Yeah. So yeah, those songs. Those are and I only looked that up because when people ask me the question, like, if you could go back in time for any show or whatever, I'm always like Kiss 77 second night of the Houston show. Like, and that they say that that's alive too, because they didn't tour during Love Gun in America except for the one San Francisco show.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that would have been like, and I think that's maybe why I leaned more into this record, where it's like, if you were to, this is just the peak of this band. Like, this is just the machine being like firing on all cylinders. From like, we're pumping out records, we have the merchandising is like in full effect at this point. I mean, you got dolls, you got the comic book with their blood in it at this point. Like,
the comic book is the absolute peak of like, to me, it's, you know, like how I heard the made up story of him stomping on the crowd in the boots. It's like, yeah, I'm going to hear that story when you tell me in real life they put their blood inside the ink. Like, that's what I'm guessing in far-fetched. Like,
I had to have like, I mean, obviously you know, I became a fan much further after this, but like, you know, like it was just everywhere, and especially when I was growing up. But like, you know, like this album came with like the paper love gun, and I don't know, what's like the craziest thing that you have? Probably, what do you think is like the craziest bit of Kiss merch you own?
What, a crazy Kiss thing?
Yeah, is there like a piece of merch that you're like, I had to have that, like I needed
well,
this?
during when they got back together, they were putting out so much stuff that it kind of turned me off. Like, I wanted it all, but at the same time, it was like, really, like, afford all this, and that's not fair, and you're releasing so much crap that it's not even cool. That don't mean that I didn't want it. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I got a fucking Gene Simmons potato head, Mr. Potato Head somewhere in this house.
Potato Head. I have a few of those giant cutouts, like Gene Simmons holding a rose, and which I like that one because it's at least a cutout of him from the '70s. Where I got a big cutout of the whole band from this, you know, 1998 era or whatever. It's not as cool, you know. But I got it. Man, my Kiss stuff, God, that's hard to say, like, what my most cherished Kiss thing is. And that's really wrong, because as soon as I get off here, my wife's going to be like, you don't mean you didn't tell him about this dumbass thing I've been trying to get you to go away for, like, so I got two. I have two of the Paul Stanley guitars.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, cool.
I like, so when in like 2002 or something, or Kmart did the release of the Silvertone.
Yeah, I remember those.
Guitars, and they did 5. It was like Adam Levine, Joe Perry. It was all these people. And Paul did his, and they were sold out because of Kiss fanatics.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Hell yeah, dude.
That was the last thing Kmart ever sold.
Yeah, right. Oh, damn, look at that.
I drove around to like a bunch of Kmarts, you know, and I could never found it. And then a few years ago, my wife tracked it down through some guy that just like resells a bunch of guitars, and he didn't even really charge her as much as I would have assumed. But she was like, the experience was weird. I had to go to this guy's apartment.
Oh no.
And there was like 300 guitars laying everywhere in this apartment. Like a cat hoarder, but in a 1-bedroom apartment. You know?
Oh man, that's love, dude.
Yeah, so she got me that. I like that a lot. And then my buddy Red, that plays in Sea Hag.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Local friends of ours, a couple of years ago, he gave me this one.
That's rad.
Yeah, and it's another Paul Stanley. So I like those things. as far as the 70s, I've never been able to get a doll.
Yeah.
I got a couple of tattoo packets from a Live 2 record.
Nice.
You know, where they gave you the original, like all the tattoos in there.
Yeah.
I like that. I got that. But yeah, I think I probably have more Kiss tattoos than.
Yeah, you actually just got
So, like one here, and then my ace, and then speaking of the tattoos.
Oh, nice, dude.
Sexy one.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Hell
killer.
yeah.
I like that a lot. Right. Oh yeah, there you go.
Poison.
Yes.
Damn.
You got to go high. You got to know me for that one.
They did that. You said you saw him in like. Who said they saw him in like 04? Was it CT? Did you say that? Weren't they?
Which Kiss?
Yeah.
Yes, Saliva was opening up.
Was Poison
Wow.
on that tour or
What?
something? Was Poison on that tour too? I have like a shirt.
Well, the one I saw was Saliva. It was, and it was, yeah. So I don't even know if Saliva was on the full tour because they're a Memphis band, and that's like 2 hours down the road. So it might have been one of those things where like we're answering the call, you know. So
Well, I feel like we've kind of covered this record, and you know, I'd first like
I
to.
don't know, man. We haven't even talked about the song "Love Gun." So
Oh yeah, you're right. We really
man.
haven't.
well, it takes it back. I would say where it was like even back to the conversation where there was no room. Like Peter, we need you to do this, you
Right.
know, and I mean, he's just nailing it. I mean, it's like I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the first or second drum take, you know, like it's so heavy.
I did love the guitar solo at the end where the bass and the drum under the solo are like locked in together doing the exact same like rhythm. I love that part.
To me, that's where this song really shines, is right at that part.
Yes.
You know, it's
Just like this
you know,
build, like
Right,
because
yeah.
they're jamming so hard like a 70s hard rock band, you
Yes.
know.
they're
And,
locked the fuck in for sure.
So heavy, and then when they and they just start that, you know, like the guitar solo. The Love Gun is. I love that. There's also, I know we already talked about Almost Human, but there's this video out. I think it came out last year, the year before, but it's Gene Simmons with his solo band. Again, he might have been using Aces because they did that on an Australian tour together. It was like, I don't know how many years ago, but Ace and Gene did solo tour of Australia, and Gene shared Ace's band, and all the videos are like, I mean, like the players are nailing it way better than a Kiss show. You know,
who better to get, I guess, than guys who are just already rehearsed through the songs, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right. No, completely. And so they but so this was like, it was right after this Kiss thing where they stopped playing and Gene's starting to announce some shows or whatever. It might be Germany, I'm not sure. It's definitely not America. It could be Italy. There's this young woman, and she's got full Gene 1975 makeup and costume on. And he pulls her on stage to sing Almost Human. And she's either got this precious nervous tick, or she's just, the whole time she's shaking her hands like, and she's like, oh my God. And but she steps up like, you're so smooth and tender. Like, you know, you can hear her like full accent, you know, I live a breathing dream. Like,
oh my gosh.
and, dude, it's one of the coolest videos to me, because I bet this person is like 19 or whatever. you know. And I think about y'all's stories, you know, how like when you guys might have heard Kiss the first time as opposed to me in 1987, you know. But like even really with the wrestling connection, because and I'm like, that's right. There were errors that might have touched a kid in a certain age a whole different way that they might have, you know. And um, so it's when I started thinking about this, you know, young lady, and I was just like, God, I don't have to carry the torch. Like I don't have to, you know? Like,
Yeah, man. It's just it's bigger than it could. It's just a part of the pop culture, like, yeah,
Zeitgeist.
Right. Thank
Yeah.
you. I wasn't gonna get that word. Thank you so much.
no, my son, there's a recent story right now. He's been coming home. He wore his shirt, and he's 9, and he wore his shirt to school, and he came home and he was like, Dad, there's this girl at school and she loves Kiss. I think she loves classic rock maybe. And I was like, really? I was like, well, did you talk to her? He goes, yeah, her name is Sarah. I told her my name. I told her you played in a band. She loves it. We started talking about Kiss. So we're up to like the 3rd or 4th conversation on this. And he's like, so the second time he's like, I don't know if she likes classic rock as much as she likes Kiss. And so, you know, and every other day he's telling the story, and he's already asked, because he goes, I told her about the Kiss movie and she loved it. I go, oh, the Kiss and Scooby-Doo movie that we watch? No, Dad. The Kiss meets the Phantom movie.
Wow.
You went there? Like, you went there? It's like, she wants to see it. I told her she should come over and watch it with us. Dude, we got to clean the house. Like, you know, let me know like before we. And so I guess the last conversation they had was talking about their favorite members. And she was like, Ace, Space Ace is my favorite member. And in my mind, I'm just like, man, like there's some things I try to help my son at, and I might not be the best. I'm like, kid, I got you on this one.
Do you think it's going to be a turn when he has her listen to Wake for the first time? Do you think she's going to be
offered her a VIP gold pass for a show coming up with Soylent Green?
Oh, dude,
amazing. Amazing.
I love it.
Oh, son. I was like, and I go, do we have those? He goes, you should, because we made passes for the Mutants Fest. So he was like, he showed me the pass. And we only made those for the couple of sponsors we had. And it was 100% DIY made. And like, he showed me the pass. And I go, okay. I was like, we will make, if we have to, we will make her a gold.
That's amazing.
What a dad. What a fucking dad. Hell yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many of my favorite tracks on here. I Stole Your Love, Christine 16, even for the, I get it. Hey, man, you know, Going Blind is right up there with it. You know, God Love for Sale Shine. I mean, like, the whole front half of this record, Love Gun. There's so many songs to love about it. I don't think personally it's a perfect record. I think parts of it feel maybe a little clunky with, you know, Tomorrow and Tonight, and like maybe like Then She Kissed Me. It just feels it clashes a little bit with the album. I think they're great songs. I just wonder, would the cover have gone maybe better on like a compilation or maybe even like a live? I don't know.
Oh, like if they would have taken something from like Rocket Ride and brought it over.
Yeah, I wonder if Rocket Ride would have been a better fit.
Obviously. Rocket Ride would have never happened without Shock Me.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's crazy too. Like, you know, they had I love the story of him being so nervous that he has to like turn the lights off and lay on his back to just sing the song.
I read that.
It's crazy. Like, but maybe I love it because it is just like, all right, here's a snapshot of it, right? Like for all of its faults and like whatever, your impression of it is. It's like, this is where they were at, and like this is they realized their sound, right? Like I think that's really what it boils down to. I think this is just peak Kiss. Like this is just what it was at at the height of it.
I think it started going downhill even just with the solo albums.
Agreed.
I mean, even though I love them and I don't think the music is downhill, Paul's solo album is incredible. Like, it's not that. It's just the fact that they're like, a couple of them or whatever, like, we are done with this shit. And they're like, wait, let's make solo albums.
Yes.
And so the solo album just, it created time off because they weren't touring during that. It was the first time where it was just like they were constantly pumping shit out, but they weren't playing live for like a year or whatever. So it was like, but they had to make that movie, and like, who knows the real story behind that? Because they all say it was horrible.
Yeah.
But Peter is the only one that was like, I am not showing up for the studio vocal movie takes, and I am not. And then they're all like, they blame it on him, which very well could be, but they blame it on him just being wasted. And it's like, when you get wasted, the truth, like wow, what a big horse shit. Like, I mean, sometimes you can get wasted and go with it, but if there's also drugs you can take that make you like, no, this is not what I signed up for, and that's what they were. Yeah, that movie. And like I said, I wouldn't have discovered I Stole Your Love in the way without watching that movie. Everything is, a part of the history you create. So it definitely have to be a whole nother what if universe, as if the movie wasn't made or was good, Like I was saying, I've written a Kiss play.
Yes. When you told me about that, yes.
It's all based on that era because I think it's good. It's like the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew or all of just that stuff that was being shot during that time. Like if Scooby-Doo was a real show without the dog, but they were solving mysteries or what. In 77, it's the same way that Kiss movie was shot. It was all filmed in certain, just like $1 Million Man and shit like that, So, in my brain, I've written this play at that Kiss peak, era or whatever. So, because I think it's great, but it's also definitely not rock and roll. Which is what like Peter and Ace is like, it ain't rock and roll, man.
We got to get a community theater on that play, man. What do we got to get it?
I really just need a couple of strong local writers that want to help me tighten it up, but I 100% want to. I don't know if I could do a community theater because I want it to be.
It has to be large. Has to be.
No. I want it to be unauthorized. I want it to be illegal.
Oh yeah.
A community theater can't advertise. They can't. Like if you're doing. So if I was to do it at a community theater, it'd be like, well, I'm not going to put out flyers for it. I'm not gonna so. But I would find my own room, and kind of like they do in Hamlet 2 when they got canceled from the school. Have you guys ever seen Hamlet 2?
I know. It's got like Steve Coogan in it or something.
It's fucking amazing. I think Jesus comes back from time to save Hamlet, but the kids, they get banned from their school, so they find this old illegal rave hall to put on their play, and So yeah, no, I to me, I'd want to do it as like a late night thing in like 190 seat theater,
I love it.
like midnight,
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you like sitting with us and chatting for sure.
No, dude, I think you guys, just about Kiss, hearing you guys talk about Kiss, I didn't even I don't have to talk. It just made me happy to hear. This is different,
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Right.
I think this is a different kind of episode for us anyway. Like
Well, I
I've been
watch
trying
all
to
those nerdy Kiss shows and they suck. Like, it's, three sides of the coin and whatever Eddie Kramer does, or not Eddie Kramer, Eddie Trump.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like, or
Mm.
Trump. So
Trump, yeah.
yeah. So and I'm just saying all those old butt rocker dudes, like they just talk about a lot of the same Kiss shit. So I can't hardly watch that crap. And I love Kiss, so
I feel you, man. Well, you do have some shows coming up.
Yep.
yeah.
And I'm stoked because you're coming through my area in Chicago. You're coming through Louisville. You're playing with like Soylent Green and Race Trader and Fister. Like, tell me about it. I'd love to know like what, because Soylent Green we talked about at length before on this show. I mean, they're just one of the craziest fucking bands out there. Like, yeah, what are you excited for most about this tour?
Sorry, I'm trying to stay positive. I'm not a get in the van kind of guy. I like riding up front with Jeff. He does all the driving. He's so nice when he drives. He lets me listen to a lot of butt rock, or like I'll listen to all nostalgic country music, and
Hell yeah.
that he'll just be like, God, I haven't heard this song since I was with my mom in '86, and, and those things are fun. But other than that, the shows, there are, St. Louis is cool. We haven't played with Fister in like a really, really, really long time. And that'll be nice. I like the drives. It's like 4.5 hours, and then 4.5 hours, and then 4.5 hours, like, or 3.5 or something. That's really cool. Because it also, man, not touring, other than the time you get to play, is not like the most dude, you don't get to see shit, man.
Yeah.
You drive, you stop, and you use the bathroom. If you're lucky enough to work something in, you got to stop at something neat when you got to use the bathroom. If you're driving with like I mean, we've never been on a bus, but it's the same way. If you're driving with a bus or a van with a trailer, if you're driving with a van, you might be able to go somewhere. If you get your van and trailer parked, you're stuck wherever you're at, And sometimes you might be able to be like, I'm going to try to venture off and see something neat or do something neat. But it's like, really? Because we're about to load up. We might have sound check. We might not. I mean, and so it's like, you never know if you get to see anything. So it's just hanging out at a venue. These drives aren't like that. They're not as long. So hopefully we'll get to Chicago a little early, and we do have so many friends in Chicago, and Chicago became our second home forever, just recording there forever. And, Arkansas was always weird for us. And I mean, just being birthed, and we instantly found love in Nashville. So we were like, oh, that's cool. There are bands like that aren't just I Hate God from New Orleans, there
Right.
or whatever. There are bands starting out from these towns and that we can become friends with, and the very next one was, is probably like Nashville, maybe like Coleman, Alabama. And then, but when we did our first tour, Chicago, like we Sanford's band, Buried at Sea, we played their second show ever.
Wow.
They played at a house show, and then their next show was at the Prodigal Son. And at this point, we had done a few days of the tour, and it was fucking weird. It was like, and this was a 47-day tour. We had done 6 days before. We'd never done anything like this, and this was the start of it. And the first 3 or 4 days were already just like, God, and we had done the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and it was right when it was like starting to, it was 2003, and it, we're 2 in the years before that were grand, and this was just starting to, so we were like, oh great. And we get to Chicago, and there's all these people that look way cooler than us, and we were just like, oh God, like these are the cool people of this scene. Like we are not that. Like we're still wearing camouflage shorts and and everything's baggy. We made friends with them immediately. Like we had met this dude Tom Denny that was making tons of video stuff at the time. And we met our best buddy Sean and Sanford, and we were coming back to Chicago as much as we could after that. So it's been too long. The last time we were there, not playing, but when we recorded Rest, I even spent a few days at the School of Rock.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they tried to get me to jam with those kids, and I was like, "Are you serious? Like, what the fuck am I gonna do?" I was like, I just watched this kid play the drums. Now get behind it, and he's doing James Brown on lead vocals.
Oh my God!
How did I take notes?
Yeah.
I had a box of records, the vinyl and CD, and I just stood at the door, and the kids were all picking through the boxes, like, yeah, that looks cool. I was giving away free records and stuff.
Well, again, man, I can't wait. I think the tours, like the shows, are gonna be great. I'm stoked to see it in Chicago.
Too,
yeah.
Man. I know they're not on that run. They're like on the next, but it's like the very next weekend that we're doing with them.
Yeah.
Like
so, just to see them, I mean, alone,
No, 100%. We've been planning this for a minute, trying to do these shows, and I know a lot of people are like, yeah, I bet because Goat Whore was so busy and now Sammy is, tied up with Acid Bath, they have time. But no, it's really Tommy. He's completely busy with Crowbar all the time. That it's hard for and Ben lives in like Washington State now.
Really? Oh,
jeez.
Brian in Baltimore. Like,
goddamn.
It's not like those dudes gotta, and so we've been trying to plan this for a while, and it was going to happen in September, and Reed just left for this. He's on tour with COC for the Alice Cooper and Judas Priest thing, and so we were like, we can't do it. And so then that Acid Bath show happened at the arena, and meaning they're flying Soylent Green in, and to be able to open. So I assume that's when Ben was like, what about right after this?
Yeah.
And we were like, yes, let's do it. It'll be cold. It might be raining. And this is the time we can do it. So we're doing it. So, yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I have not seen you guys live before. So to see, songs
sweet.
From this new record, Turn of Magic, I can't wait. So check it out. If you haven't gotten it, don't be a chump. Get the record now. It's awesome. One of my favorites from this year. CT, thank you so much for letting us bother you on your Sunday to
thank you guys.
talk about Kiss, man.
I want to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank Kiss. No, for all those years and really just getting me through it. No, and Wake. I mean, hell, I love the new record. I love my Wake family, and I love that you guys dig Wake so much that you would let us talk about Kiss for this song. So thank you.
Well, thank you. You can follow Wake on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram, Riff Worship Pod, email us, whatever. It's all in the links below. For myself, for Swindle, for Dylan, for CT, you've been listening to Riff Worship. We'll be back next week with something else. See ya.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.